Hey guys, how you doing? jpsarrireviews here. A good friend of the channel recently recommended for me to watch Batman Soul of the Dragon. This is the 40th film in the DC animated universe. That's an amazing feat. And it's a direct-to-video presentation, so it didn't see a theatrical release. It's available in digital platforms and on DVD and Blu-ray. So I decided to watch it. So in this video, I want to let you know how I feel about it, the good and the bad. And ultimately, if you're looking for something to watch over the weekend, I want to let you know if you need to spend your time doing so or not. So in the next couple of minutes, stay tuned. They're good. The first thing that we need to point out here that I really love, and the reason why I watched these films in the first place, is the animation. It is classic 2D animation, and I love that. I have nothing against 3D animation, but sometimes can be so intrusive. And DC has done in the past some of those hybrid films where there's 2D and 3D in the background. Well, you don't get to see anything, any of that here. So that's a good thing. If you love classic, it's fluid. The action is fluid. There's a lot of kung fu, of course, in this film, and I love that. I love the action, the scenes. So it's kind of reminiscent of the beginnings of this universe. And it's good. In my opinion, it's good. It's a throwback to it. And I like that. So yeah, that's the highlight for me at first. The second thing, and perhaps the best thing of this film, is this story. And I love this story. It was well done. I was really surprised by it. To be honest with you, I came with low expectations. I didn't know anything about this film. This is an original story, so it's not based on a comic book. However, it pays tribute to the characters and the work of the late Dennis O'Neil and Jim Barry on Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter back in the 70s. And I love that. So you see characters that were introduced there. Here you see, and of course, Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, Ben Turner, the Bronze Tiger are at the center of the story. And I love that. Also, the villain, Cobra, created by Jack Kirby, but Martin Pasco was actually the writer in the 70s that really kind of shaped this character. So I love that. To me, it's a throwback to all of those things from the 70s, some fantastic comic book stories there. And not only it pays tribute to the work of Dennis O'Neil and Jim Barry, also it pays homage to blaxploitation and kung fu movies of the 70s. That was a big part of the cultural scene back in the day. And you see it here on the way they talk, the dialogue, of course, the design of the characters, which is super cool. And the music, the soundtrack is good. So it was to me, it was a fun ride. Of course, I grew up in the late 70s. As a child, my parents, my dad particularly, was into those type of films. So I was able to watch a lot of those films. So to me, it's kind of like a throwback to my childhood. They really did it good, and the tribute is well done and also well deserved. So yeah, that's another aspect that keeps you on your seat watching this film, and it's enjoyable. The bad. Now it's time to talk about the bad. And although I really enjoyed this film, there are a couple of things that we need to point out that were not as good. And one of them was the animation. Although I said the animation was enjoyable and good, at the same time, it really shows its age. Some of the newer movies that DC has done, the animated films, they look better, very crisp. And the quality of everything is there. But this one feels a bit old in comparison, kind of like a throwback to the original things of the first films that were not as good with the design. So it does show its age. It's not as vibrant per se. And I think perhaps that was a choice. Even the mouth doesn't really go well with what the dialogue and things like that. And sometimes you saw a lot of reuse backgrounds. It's something that in many ways might be a sign that the budget was low, and they didn't put much money into it to create more backgrounds. So there were a couple of scenes that they felt like more like 90s animation rather than something more modern. Also, some of the design and the characters, I love the design in a lot of the characters, but particularly Batman, who is at the center, who is the main character in the story. His design wasn't that good. He didn't look like 70s Batman. He looked more like 50s or 40s or 50s Batman. So I don't know. It just didn't look as good to me in comparison to the design of the other characters. That was the only thing. So yeah, I would say it does show its age. In this case, the technique and the quality of the animation and the design. Although Batman is the protagonist in the story, or at least in the title, he is not the main character of the story. So yes, the title says Batman, but that's a bit misleading because ultimately the other characters, his partners, are actually at the center. They are the main characters. They are the protagonists in the story in the end. And I'm not gonna say that I'm unhappy about that because I really love when the spotlight goes into other characters. These characters, are at the center. Richard Dragon, Lady Shiva, Ben Turner, they are at the center. But the fact is that I came expecting a Batman film, and Batman barely says something in the story. Yeah, he says a couple of things here and there, but the story doesn't go deep into his persona. And in some way it's good, in some way it's bad, and it depends on your perspective. To me, it's misleading when the title says something and you get other thing. You get something opposite. I also think that perhaps that was the way they did it for a marketing perspective, because if you promote this as, I don't know, like Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter film, then people might not even watch it because they don't have connection with this character the same way they do Batman. So Batman technically is just the bait to bring people to watch this film. It is disappointing in the end because I wanted to watch more of Batman and no less of Batman. But it is what it is. At least we got the other characters to shine, and they shine well. But I wanted to see more of Batman for sure. Another disappointment for me, at least as a parent, it is the fact that this film is R-rated. And it is R-rated because it does have violence. It doesn't have language, which is good, but it has violence. And it is not as brutal as Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. You don't see a lot of blood or gore, but you're going to see some really violent moments and also some violent scenes. And again, I'm disappointed as a parent. Although I don't have a small child in the house, I can see it as from the perspective of someone that has small kids. And you want to watch certain films with your kids. You want to introduce them to the marvelous world of animation, superhero animation. Many of these films, or many of the series that we had in the past, everything started with the Batman animated series that was created by Bruce Timm, that also is the producer on this film. Sam Lieu is the director of this film. He was a director on the 2006 The Batman series, fantastic series. And, they were able to pull the strings and to create some really fantastic shows that also were enjoyed by kids and adults at the same time, because they have mature elements, but at the same time, they didn't cross the line. It seems to me that nowadays DC likes to just cross the line just to please a particular crowd, not necessarily an entire audience. And I don't know, it's just a disappointment for me from that perspective. That doesn't take away the good of the film. That doesn't take away the fact that the film has a great story and all of that, and the animation is fun. But yeah, it can be disappointing. Particularly nowadays when parents are with their children at home, they're not going places, and you want to find something to watch as a family, this could have been a fantastic way to do it. And unfortunately, it is not. Yeah, so people might disagree with that point of view. They might disagree with my assessment of that, but as a parent, I have to voice my concern. In conclusion, I'm telling you this, besides all the hiccups, besides the things that perhaps are disappointing, I did have fun, and it was an enjoyable ride with this film. I love that it does pay tribute to fantastic work from the 70s in comics and in cinema. I love that. And the story is fun, it's good, it keeps you on your toes. I love the fact that the other characters besides Batman shine, although, disappointing not to see Batman shine as well. But it was good, it was fun. I recommend it. There was never a dull moment here, and that's always good in my opinion. So if I have to give this animated film score, I would say it's an 8 out of 10, which is good in my book. It's very good in my book. And yeah, I do recommend it. So if you're looking for something to watch over the weekend or any other time, by all means, grab this one. It is a great film. You are going to have fun. I guarantee it. So my friends, what do you think about this film? Have you watched it? You haven't watched it? Let me know in the comments below. So once again, my friends, thanks for watching. God bless. Take care, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.